This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun. No.
Y'all, just
Stop.
stop. This is a sham. Welcome to DBL, everybody. Happy New Year.
Yes, happy 2022. We did it.
Is that deuces for
Deuces for 2022. Peace everywhere.
Did you just make that up?
Yeah.
It just happened to do
Yeah.
that. And you'd think everyone would be doing
You'd
that.
think that's a thing. Did I
That's
just
the
make
first
a
time
thing?
I think you might have. You should trademark that.
Or none of us did anything for New Year's and you haven't seen other people.
That's true.
So let's get right into it. The biggest headline from this holiday weekend was, of course, the passing of the legendary Betty White. The beloved comedian died on Friday at the age of 99. That's just 2.5 weeks before what would have been her 100th birthday. And later in the show, we're going to be honoring her. So stay with us for that. Tori has a lot to say.
Yes,
One of the
I do.
legends, and I think we all do.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, well, how did we ring in the new year? Do you want to talk about that quickly before we get to the celebrities?
The celebrities. I had a rager.
By the way, you're a celebrity to me,
Oh my God.
but I don't know what the word celebrity means. So
Definitely not to me.
To you? Okay, good to get count. Just find out where I am.
So nothing's changed in
I had a
2022.
rager, and you can see I got a picture. It's a little blurry. We were dancing all night. Just kidding. It was me and my dog.
I'm not sure we have the picture because it was.
Oh, we do.
Oh, I thought it was so boring they didn't put it in there.
Yeah. It looks like they had to wake the dog up for that photo.
So the
And we had a
question
fire going in the fireplace.
what time was this, and did you make it to midnight?
We made it to midnight, but like in bed, kissed and said
Why does it
goodnight.
look like it's 2 in the afternoon in that picture?
It was like 4 or 5. No, it was 5 o'clock because I have a glass of wine. And I did cross stitch. We looked at our gratitude journal of last year.
That's cool.
And what's funny is all the grateful things I said we had last year in 2019, 2018, same thing we were doing this year. Cross stitch, reading, being with the dog, same thing.
Write down your goals?
Yeah, I always write my what I'm grateful
That sounds
for.
like you're lying.
I'm not.
Kyle, what did you do?
That segued into sad. I was doing the same thing 3 years ago.
I wrote down my fake goals,
I'm in a
and
rut.
I'm starting the new year off with a lie.
I'm not. It was just that I am doing the same thing.
Good for you. I mean, that's whatever. As long
Consistency.
as it's kind of working.
Yep.
For me, I just stayed home, hung out. You know, there's a lot of Omicron going around, so just trying to do my part. Staying home, ringing the New Year old school style. You know, I think we looked up and it was like 11:58. We were like, oh, we should do something. And then my girl went to go get cider, and by the time she got to the refrigerator, it was like 12:02. It was like, well,
Missed it.
that just happened.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
I was asleep at midnight.
Oh.
I went bowling with the family
Nice.
early on, and then I went back to a neighbor's house. We were outside. We popped those things, smoked a cigar. It was 10 o'clock, New York time.
Hit it.
Oh, there it
Later.
is.
Yeah, I do
Yes.
New York time too. I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into what the real celebrities did. So, how did Hollywood ring in the new year? Well, let's take a look. First up, housewife Kyle Richards. She celebrated with friends, posting this photo to Instagram saying, "Such a special night."
What's with the hats?
It's a special night.
Oh.
Meanwhile, her niece Paris Hilton celebrated in the Maldives with her husband.
Dream vacation.
That's awesome.
Dream vacation.
And former First Lady Michelle Obama shared this photo with the former president, captioning the photo, "Happy New Year from me and my boo." Oh, you like that, Tori?
They just look so cool.
They just look like they're so happy
They're
to not be in politics.
Yes!
They're
That
just
guy
like,
used to
oh
be
my goodness.
Our president.
I know.
That's amazing.
And they're in love. It's lovely to see that. It's lovely to see a couple that's still together like
Well,
that.
I think that's one of the things that we don't think about when we have kind of younger presidents, is they're not going to be president, but they still have half their life to live.
Well, they're not posing by anything. It's not presidential.
So
It's not
it's so
political. It's like,
candid.
dude,
Dude.
we're a couple.
Yeah.
Let's just pose
And they're
for
cool
years.
That's not my job anymore, not my problem.
There you go. That's exactly what they're
circus.
thinking.
Yeah, that's right.
exactly what they're thinking. But some celebs did have a rougher night. Take a look at Deborah Messing.
Oh my God.
The Will and Grace star posted this photo revealing she has tested positive for COVID and was quarantining, saying for the next 10 days while in quarantine, "I will beautify or maybe I'll sleep." Hilarious. Another star who had a tough night, Miley Cyrus.
Oh, man.
She had a little wardrobe malfunction while performing at her New Year's Eve party in Miami. She did handle the situation with class, though. All right,
she did.
Let's take a look.
The dream of my cardigan. Look into the alright. It's a party in the USA. It's a party in the USA.
She handled that really well.
I think she should have gone with the red jacket to start with.
It did look fine. She looked like a snack, like real smart.
But I mean, why was that back there? Like, who was somebody selling real estate?
No, but I will give it up to whoever the wardrobe person is to have a backup ready to switch and still get on with the song. Great planning ahead.
It looked like an Usher's jacket.
It really did.
Right.
I liked it though.
Check this out. It looks like CNN's Don Lemon might have had one too many this New Year's. He went on to rant about his haters during the live New Year's Eve celebration and then popped out of a cake as the clock struck midnight. Take a look.
I share everything. I don't give a. What do you think about me?
3, 2, 1.
You guys.
Wow, that was the first time I saw that.
You guys,
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Okay, so you saw it.
I saw the whole thing
in real time.
In real time, and I was watching Andy. I was watching Andy, and I was watching Anderson, and they get drunk a lot.
Andy Cohen
and Anderson Cooper, and they were getting really drunk. And Andy was going on about Bill de Blasio and doing all this stuff. They go to a little preview of the after show. Don Lemon, he's in New Orleans with lemon beads. Okay.
And he jumped out of a.
And he jumped out of a lemon cake. Okay. And he's saying things that you should not be saying on live TV. He was asking about his co-host, like, sexual past. He was talking about, like, lift your shirt for the beads. It was just like someone who had just been overserved, having a great time, but not for CNN. Like, just not okay. So they cut away for a minute, and both Brooks and I were like, they're definitely cutting him off. He's getting off of it. They're going to find a new host for the after show. They quickly go to Jonathan Bennett for a quick second, and I'm thinking they're going to switch to Bennett because this is out of control. Then they quickly go back to Lemon, and he's out of the cake and doing it even more.
And speaking of Jonathan Bennett, he's a friend of our show.
Correct.
To go to him to calm things down, it's not the best move.
I mean, it was
that guy
crazy.
is like 100 miles an hour.
And he was calmer than Pete Davidson and Miley Cyrus were much more normal than Don Lemon.
But let me ask you guys this. Is that what the people want? Because I think it is.
Yeah.
I think we're laughing, you're laughing. I can't imagine what it's like to read and have to have serious news 364 days a year. Do I think it's a good idea to get blackout drunk on television, allegedly? No, that's not for me. But is it a bad watch?
Is it for?
I don't think so.
But CNN, my God, like the people watching are used to Cronkite, Wolf Blitzer, Tom Brokaw,
years ago.
Barbara
You're talking
Walters.
about stuff 30 years ago. I don't think
They're still watching, though.
Do people still expect the same thing from the people that gave them the news as they did 30 years ago?
I just think CNN has a level that some of their audience would like, and it was not that.
And you're making a good point.
Yeah.
But listen, the way that we talk now on television and in society, it's not real.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah,
We're
I agree.
seeing a real thing.
Yeah.
I don't care about my haters.
Right,
it's not like, hi, my name's Don Lemon, and you could write whatever you want because I don't read comments. We all do. We all get mad. That's the real, you have a couple drinks and you loosen up a little bit. But it's like, that's what's real. All this fake talk about you do this and support that. I support animals, but my whole car is made of leather.
Yeah,
it's like, get real.
It was the real Don Lemon. It really was.
I mean,
and I loved it.
It's going to make me seem super old, but one of my favorite movies is JFK. And I love that line. I love JFK. I watch it anytime.
Kevin Costner?
Yes,
Oh, that's
I
weird.
love it. But it was Donald Sutherland said when they were on the park bench, and he was like, should I sue the U.S. government? And he said, everybody's a sucker for the truth. And the only people that are true are babies and drunk people. Those are the only people that'll give you the exact, like, that looks ridiculous, or your hair looks crazy right now. And people love that.
Yeah.
There's an honesty and an integrity
But I wonder if that's a generational thing. Because we like transparency, but I don't know if my mom and dad would have liked that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Do you think he'll get into any sort of trouble?
I couldn't believe he wasn't going to. He said things I was shocked by. And so far, I've heard nothing other than I was overserved last night from Andy Cohen. Sorry.
But it's just funny, we got to go. But it's like people are pulling up things people said 40 years ago.
But he said it last night.
And he said some things that people are fired 40 years ago.
40 minutes ago.
You're right.
Where's the line?
You're right.
Coming up on DBL, we sat down with this TikTok star who started with the bobby pin and traded away to a house. That's right. But first, we are remembering Betty White, the special tributes highlighting her incredible career and golden personality.
I got it.
Closed captioning provided by
I think that should be its own.
Janet Jackson
We have so
apparently
many
is talking about
stories.
his, her wardrobe
We got
wardrobe
something on
malfunction
Don
on
Lemon.
Miley. And Miley handled it really well, I
thought she did great.
Yeah, it's not easy because, so I guess this broke. This part, I don't know if you
it
like a
came
halter.
off,
and there's a
right?
picture people have been spreading, which I don't do it. But yeah, it came all the way off. And she's been doing this since she was like in the womb. I mean, she knows how to handle herself up there, you know?
Right.
So I thought she did a really nice job.
Imagine backstage and she's like, oh my God, I need a jacket. And someone took off that red jacket. She's like, not that one. All right, just give it to me.
It did look like a maitre d', like, can I show you to your table?
And it's like, I wonder if this
Hey,
is
so I'm
one of
gonna
those things
take
where
control room?
your
Or
natural
Jay,
instinct is the big
I'm gonna
boss
throw
goes,
this to
who's in
Tori.
charge of wardrobe?
Okay.
This is
that cool?
This
Patty?
cannot happen. You're
This
fired.
whole
But
tribute. That's
Will we be
happened.
talking about the performance
Yeah.
without this and how she handled it?
Can I be honest with you, Al? Nothing happened on that show. Pete Davidson and Miley Cyrus, you expect sparks or something that we would talk about the next day. They were so tame compared to CNN.
That's
Miley
interesting.
Cyrus and
What an
Pete Davidson
interesting
were
point that
way
is.
more tame
Because-
than anyone on CNN. It was great. And
But I would say
I'm
that people at CNN are under more stress than
I'm
Pete
surprised
Davidson.
there's not more talk of him being in trouble.
Me
Again, I like it, and I don't want him to get in
Me
trouble.
too.
To be clear, I think this cancel culture has gone too far. I don't want to start the first day of the new year off with it. But I think people enjoyed the freedom of it, letting loose and doing that. But I have to ask, why isn't he in trouble?
Yeah, and
People
I
have been in trouble for less and canceled for less.
Things he said, I gotta be honest, guys. I cannot imagine there wasn't a conversation the next day with the head of CNN.
But
it was
but they
crazy.
produced it. He's gonna.
Yes, I was about to say.
But why is it
you
their
have
thing?
You have to snatch headlines.
Listen,
You have to
I'm
take
with
them.
it.
Yeah,
I'm
I know
totally
you are.
with
Some of
it.
the words
but,
I felt
but
were
if you
like
said
that.
something like that,
Yeah.
if I said that on the air. Welcome back to DBL. Like we said at the top of the show, tributes are pouring in for the one and only Betty White. And since, Tori, she is one of your idols, and you are very sad to see her go, but appreciate her life.
Yes.
I want you to take this segment.
Thank
and let's
you,
remember
Jeff.
Betty White.
I appreciate that. She loved being silly, and I love that about her. She passed away on New Year's Eve at the age of 99, and her agent and close friend confirmed that Betty passed away in her sleep peacefully at her home in Los Angeles. Ryan Reynolds, who starred with Betty in The Proposal, said Betty was great at defying expectations. Somehow she managed to grow very old and yet not old enough. Dolly Parton said, quote, Betty will live forever, not only in this world, but in the world hereafter. I will always love her, as we all will. And former First Lady Michelle Obama posted a sweet pic of Betty with their late dog, Bo, and said she, quote, broke barriers and pushed us to laugh. We will miss the joy she brought to the world. If you didn't know also about her activism, Betty White was incredibly into animal activism, worked with the SPCA, worked with the Morris Foundation, the Greater Zoo Foundation. So she is an enormous animal activist, which we love. But I didn't know she also had an amazing career in television that I want to bring up. In fact, it's hard to think of a time when Betty White wasn't on TV. So back in 1952, she started one of the first sitcoms fronted by a woman called Life with Elizabeth, which she also produced. By 1954, she was also hosting and producing her own variety show on NBC and continued to work in TV right into her 90s. Betty met the love of her life, her third husband, Alan Ludden, on the game show Password. Alan died in 1981 and Betty never remarried. The two joked about their relationship on the show right after their honeymoon. Take a look.
What are your plans for the summer, Betty?
Well, I'm going to do some... What did you have in mind, Al?
Nice to have you here. It's a very great thrill to have Betty here. Your first partner tonight, Betty, is...
What kind of a honeymoon did you have?
Oh, man, I'm so glad she gets to see Alan again. In the 70s, Betty went against her good girl image as the flirtatious Sue Ann Nevins in the Mary Tyler Moore Show, a role that won her 2 Emmys. Watch.
Just because it's my birthday, you don't have to go to all the trouble of going out and buying me a present. I'll do it for you.
Will $20 be enough?
Oh, $20 will be fine.
I bet you say that to all the guys.
Betty also, of course, struck TV gold again with her portrayal of the lovably dim-witted Rose Nyland on The Golden Girls. And she also starred in the hit sitcom Hot in Cleveland, which ran until 2015 when Betty was 93 years old.
What a career, what a life. How did you feel when you first heard the news? I know it's sad, but is there some appreciation in you, like, what a life, you know what I mean? Like, some are a shock and it brings you to tears, and some you're like, almost tears of joy.
It was almost satisfied. There was a satisfaction, like she did everything she wanted to do and she did it her way. And when she first had her show, she had a African-American tap dancer on Arthur Duncan, and she really loved his tap dancing. This is her show, and when he came on, people said, we don't like having African-Americans on our show. And she said, quote, back in the day, live with it. And her show was canceled. And Arthur Duncan went on to love Betty White and credit her with most of his career beginning. And so even behind the scenes, she was a stand-up lady.
Yeah, I think when we talk about like how casually we sit on this panel and we don't think anything of it, this was sacrilegious just 50 years ago. And the reason we're able to sit here and not think about it is because people like Betty White gave their job for this, and that's a bigger deal. People are like, oh, that's cool. She did that. Can you imagine, like, everybody at home, stop and think if somebody said, if you want to stand up for what you believe, it's going to cost you your way job. That you make a living. How many people would still continue down that path? You know, it takes a really strong person, a special person. And I think that's why everybody knows we lost a one of a kind.
And Joy Behar at 88 said, what is something you haven't done? And she said, Robert Redford.
Yeah. To the end. To the end.
At 88.
I was talking to my mom about it, and my grandmother knew her, my mom knows her, all my friends know her, my nieces know her.
Right.
And it's like, from every generation that is alive, you know Betty White.
She made you smile.
We lost a great one, but she made me smile.
She did.
Absolutely.
She did.
We'll be right back.
To believe, but this will be the third year of COVID, so by now you're familiar with the immediate symptoms, a sore throat or a loss of smell or taste. But scientists are still trying to learn more about long COVID. That's when symptoms outlast the infection. This tweet has tens of thousands of likes and retweets claiming, quote, up to 30% of people who get COVID suffer from long COVID. Let's verify. Is that statistic accurate? Our sources are Brian Lau, a professor of epidemiology at Johns Hopkins University, and Dr. Greg Vanishkashorn, a long COVID expert at the Mayo Clinic. First, the author of the tweet sourced that 30% stat to this peer-reviewed February 2021 study, published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. The study included 234 people with COVID and found that 30% had persistent symptoms 6 months later. And while the sample size is small, our experts said the study is reputable. Dr. Lau said overall 30% is a good estimate, and Dr. Vanishkashorn said about 33%. However, remember that paper was published back in February, and the actual research was conducted between August and November of 2020, so over a year ago. Since then, more studies have come out. A Mayo Clinic spokesperson sent us 2 and called the findings, quote, more ominous. This November 2021 study of 200 people hospitalized for COVID-19 found that about 40% still reported at least one symptom a year later. And this October 2021 analysis of 57 international studies found that 54% of patients still reported at least one symptom after 6 or more months. So researchers continue to learn more about long COVID, which makes it hard to give an exact estimate. But our experts say yes, at least 30% of COVID patients may suffer from long COVID.
Welcome back. A single bobby pin could end up being your key to owning a home. And if you don't think that's possible, you're about to meet TikToker Demi Skipper. She's living proof. Take a look.
Last year and a half, I've been on a quest to trade a single bobby pin up until I get to a house. After 28 trades and all the ups and downs, I finally did it.
And I've done it. And look at it. This just shows you it's possible.
I can't even wrap my head around this. This is amazing. Demi, welcome to DBL. Your creativity, your ingenuity is definitely to be admired. So you started with a single bobby pin and traded it up 27 times until you reached your goal, which is a house. What inspired you to believe that this was even possible?
Yeah, so almost 2 years ago now, I saw a YouTube video about a guy that had done just this about 20 years ago. You guys might remember him from Canada. I saw his video and immediately thought, you know, there's got to be hundreds of people that have done this, but no one else had done it. So I knew I had to be the second.
So as part of the challenge, you did not trade any items for cash. What other rules did you have to follow? I'm assuming you made these rules yourself.
Yeah, I made these rules myself. There were only really two that I set up. One was that I couldn't trade family or friends. It just felt a little bit weird if I could call up my mom and say, hey, can I have this item from you? Then the second one was that I couldn't spend any money. So obviously I couldn't like trade an item and then go sell it and then take that money and go buy something else. It had to be one item for another item for another item.
Can you tell us about some of the milestones along the way? Well, there had to be a time when you were like, I'm giving up.
Oh, so many things. So there were 28 trades total. There was one that stands out in particular, which was I thought I was trading for a $20,000 diamond necklace. I gave this woman a Mini Cooper convertible. She gave me a $20,000 necklace. We had it appraised, everything. And then when I got it to San Francisco, I took it to a local jeweler and he said, this is worth about $2,000. And I cried in the jewelry shop.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
What? Did you ever call that woman and say, hey, you scammed me?
Well, it's a trade.
So it's just like a car. So they explained it to me, like pretty much the appraisal she got was the value of what it was worth. But like, just like when you drive a new car off the lot, second you take it off, it's not worth it anymore. So it decreased in value to about 1/10 of the price. So I thought, okay, let's keep going, trying to figure this out.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, you kept going until you got to a house. So tell us, what do you remember most about the moment that you were handed the keys to your $80,000 2-bedroom house? Such a beautiful house.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, that video you guys showed was actually my first reaction. I wanted it to be my organic, real reaction. And honestly, what you don't see is that I just burst into tears after the clip ended because it's just so surreal. You work on something for almost 2 years of your life every single day. And then it wasn't until I had the keys in the door that I was like, this is my house. There's no mortgage, no rent. This is mine. And I just burst into tears.
Well, that's kind of my question. What do you trade for a house? So what was I'm sure our audience is like, what was the last item that you traded to get to that house?
Yeah, so it was a $40,000 food truck. So essentially it's got Tesla power walls, it's got solar panels, full electricity, a giant fridge and freezer, pretty much anything that somebody would want to start their own food truck company with, they could. And a lady saw it and said, you know, this is so unique. She was a home flipper, so she had 15 homes in the city and thought, okay, simple supply and demand. I'll take the food truck, you take one of my houses, and it was just amazing.
That is so cool. Okay, so you plan on going to Tennessee, where the house is, to renovate it. What are your plans after that? Are you going to film it? Will you be moving into it?
So I'm officially moving from San Francisco to Tennessee in a week and a half, which is surreal. So I'll be moving there with my husband, and then we're going to be fully renovating it. And I'm not giving anything away, but the trades will continue.
I did want to ask, was there any item that you felt like, this is it, I'm not going to be able to trade this, like you just weren't getting any offers and then finally something came through?
So there was one. It was a Chipotle celebrity card, which is unlimited Chipotle for an entire year. You can walk into the restaurant and say, everybody's going to eat for free. And I thought it was going to be incredible. I literally reached out on LinkedIn to everyone I could find that worked at Chipotle and said, I'll make you this trade. Everyone said no. Finally, one Chipotle employee said they would give it to me. And it was so hard to trade because nobody had anything for $20,000 that they would give away for a lifetime supply of burritos.
That's unbelievable. Thank you so much, Demi, for joining us. Congrats to you. DBL Nation, to find out more about her plans for her new house, follow the Trade Me Project on Instagram or TikTok. Bye, girl. We'll be right back. Happy New Year.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Cloth versus medical. Are all masks created equal? With the Omicron variant surging through our communities, a leading infectious disease doctor is getting a lot of attention for what she's saying about cloth masks.
Don't wear a cloth mask. Cloth masks are little more than facial decorations. There's no place for them in light of Omicron.
So let's take a closer look at that. Are cloth masks little more than facial decorations? For answers, I've been looking at research papers from the Journal of American Medicine and the Journal of Education and Health Promotion. And I spoke with Dr. Ashley Renee Stasinski. She's an infectious disease expert at Stanford University who worked on a mask effectiveness study involving 350,000 people living in villages in Bangladesh.
Is it accurate to say that it's
just facial decoration?
A high quality cloth mask is more than facial decoration. I would say that that's not an entirely correct statement to say that it's facial decoration. But we know that some of the really inferior cloth masks really provide next to no protection.
The Stanford study found significantly fewer COVID-19 cases in villages with surgical masks compared to villages where people wore cloth masks. But it also found cloth masks did reduce the overall likelihood of experiencing symptoms of respiratory illness during the study period.
So while cloth masks are certainly likely to be less effective, they're still likely to be better than nothing, because even if they filter out those small particles less well, we know that they do still filter out larger particles like droplets, which may also have a role in transmission.
So cloth masks can work, but should we still be wearing them? A study in the Journal of Education and Health Promotion concluded cloth face masks have limited efficacy in combating viral infection transmission, and a study in the Journal of American Medicine found the effectiveness of consumer-grade and improvised coverings varied widely.
What do you think people should take away, that cloth masks are something you should avoid?
I would say if you have access to any better mask, always choose that one.
So are cloth masks little more than facial decoration? The answer is no. Cloth masks can offer some protection, but it varies widely from mask to mask. But since the idea of a mask is to cut your risk of getting or giving an infection, a cloth mask should not be your first choice. It should be your last.
First, when it comes to your savings, financial experts say you should tackle putting money aside before your other resolutions. While paying off debt and increasing your credit score are important, if the unexpected happens, you'll need that cushion. Experts recommend setting up a savings account at a different bank than your checking account and set up automatic payments, even if it's only a few dollars each paycheck. When it comes to raising your credit score, paying off your debt is important, but it's not the only factor. Paying bills on time also helps. Set up automatic payments to make sure you don't miss deadlines. You may be tempted to close unused credit cards, but that can hurt your score. Keep the account, but cut up the cards so you won't be tempted. When it comes to paying off those cards and reducing debt, always pay more than the minimum payment, even if you can only afford a few dollars more. The minimum payment will mean you're still accruing interest each month, and that adds up over time. It'll lead to an even bigger balance that'll be harder to pay off.
Welcome back to DBL. So during the break, we were obviously talking about Betty White, and some people wrote in some
very funny
memorable lines
from Rosen Island. One of them is, you know what they say, you can lead a herring to water, but you have to walk really fast or he'll die.
Tori's been cracking herself up.
The older you get, the better you get, unless you're a banana.
Those are like made for you.
I know.
Like, I feel like you should have written those.
This really melts my Haagen-Dazs. She's just great. She just loved to be silly, and I think enjoy silliness in 2022.
And we looked it up, St. Olaf, a real place.
Real place.
There we go. Rest in peace. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Happy New Year.